So as we already know that the Chola Empire reached its zenith under Rajendra Chola. And we already have seen how the Chola Empire has some great rulers, right? If there is no good administrative order in place, then how will such a huge empire run, right? So as you can see in this map here, you can see how big the Chola Empire truly was. It would not have been possible for one single king to run it alone, right? So let's see the administrative system of the Cholas. So the Chola Empire was a decentralized one. So they also had a central government. Under the king came the council of ministers who helped the king in fulfilling all of his duties. Under these council of ministers came officers. So now there were two kinds of officers. The one who had higher posts were known as Perundanams, whereas who occupied the lower posts were known as Sirundanams. This is the central government that was there during the Chola Empire. So let's learn more about this central government. You see, their main motive or their main objectives were to maintain internal peace and order, external defense, cultural progress, and finally promotion of general prosperity. Now, as we've already learned that the Chola Empire was a decentralized one, right? So this means that the power and the responsibility was divided and not concentrated in the hands of the central government. This is what a decentralized government means, and in India today we still have such form of decentralized government. So in total there were 9 provinces, right? Now these provinces were called mandalams, which were under viceroys who usually belonged to the landed nobility. So these mandalams were further divided into kotams, which were then divided into the nadus, which were smaller districts, and these nadus were then divided into gramam or smaller villages. And all of these units had their own assemblies which looked after the administration of that particular area. Not only that, there was also village administration. There were also village assemblies present at this point of time. These included the Ur, the Sabha and Nagaram. So let's learn what these are. Ur was basically an assembly where land was held by people of all classes. So assembly for common people of the village. Next we have the Sabhas. So in such assemblies, the Brahmins received lands as a part of the Brahmadaya grant. What was this Brahmadaya grant? This was basically land allotted to the Brahmins as a sign of gratitude or appreciation from the kings towards the Brahmins for helping them out. Next we have the Nagaram, which were simply assemblies for traders and merchants. So what were the responsibilities of this village assemblies? Well, firstly it was tax collection. These also included regulating water supply for irrigation and administering charitable institutions like schools and temples. Not only that, for this purpose, the village assembly was divided into several departments, and each of these departments has different responsibility. So let's learn how these people in these departments were selected. So the names of a few chosen people would be written down on dried palm leaves and then placed inside an earthen pot like this one here. Then on a selected date, all of the people from various departments will be called in, and the priest would also call a young boy whose responsibility was simply to take out these names and read it aloud. So this is how the people were selected in different departments. Now, there was also revenue that was being collected. So the main source of income for the king was collected from agricultural taxes. Not only that, taxes were also collected from traders, import duties and artisans. So this is how the king got his money. But do you think the king kept all of the money for himself? No. A fraction of the total revenue was kept by the king, and the rest was used for public welfare. So let's try to understand this better with an example. So imagine that is our king who has just received several gold bags from taxes, right? So he has gotten 10 bags, out of which he keeps 2 for himself and gives the rest for the public welfare fund. So now these 8 bags of gold would be used for different things. For the construction of pools, roads, tanks. 2 would be used for the construction of temples. Another 2 bags could be used to pay the officials that are working tirelessly for the king. And then 2 bags of gold could also be used for maintaining his armies. So you can understand how well the king utilized his money. Now, as we just learned that the king also had an army, right? In fact, the Chola Empire had a very strong naval force and also a very well-trained army. So, under which came the Kaikolor or royal army. Who were the people? This was the part of the army that was paid regularly, whereas we also have the Nattupadais, which are local militiamen who were temporarily hired for war. Now, the identity of a kingdom does not only rely on the king and his army, but also on the society and basically how the people lived at that point of time. So, during this point of time, there was the vicious caste system, right? And in this caste system, what was happening is that the lower caste people or the Shudras were exploited. So, the caste system prevailed greatly in this empire and it was very rigid at this point of time. So, the lower caste people were poor and they faced a lot of discrimination. In fact, these people were not even allowed to enter temples in this point of time. So, they were kept very far away from their own gods, right? And the practice of untouchability was also widespread during this point of time. So, the lower caste people, the Shudras, were very much exploited against. However, on the other hand, we have the Brahmins or the higher caste person. These people of the higher caste enjoyed economic prosperity and also social freedom. As we just saw that the kings also used to give grants to Brahmins, right? So we can understand that they enjoyed a lot of economic powers as well and exploited the lower caste people. But what about the women during the Chola Empire? Well, women were given high status and freedom. Not only that, they began to be recruited as officials in the Chola government. Other than that, women of the higher castes enjoyed right to property and there was absolutely no restrictions on women who wanted to perform, sing or dance in public. But do you think that everything was fine with the women in the Chola society? No, because in this society, there was existence of child marriage among the higher castes. Not only that, the practice of sati was also common in the royal households. So, from all of this, we can see that the Chola Empire was indeed great and it had its own positive as well as negative sides. And it did leave a very great impact on the history of our country. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free on DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app and get easy access to more than 5,000 amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million+ questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and get a chance to win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So, at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it's rewarding too. So, register for free now.